In this video, I'm going to show you the Project Targets feature in Scrivener, which perhaps has a little bit more to it than you may first think. You can access Project Targets by first clicking on Project in the menu bar and then scrolling down to Show Project Targets. Alternatively, you can click on this little archery target icon like so. Project Targets basically allows you to set the number of words, characters, or pages that you aim to achieve for either the whole draft of your book or just for that current session. The title here reflects the title that you have chosen in the main folder of your binder. I think this defaults to draft or perhaps manuscript depending on the template you use, but as you can see I have changed the name of my folder to Time School, and thus Time School is also written here in the Project Target box. There is a progress bar for both your manuscript target and the session target, which gives a graphical representation of the progress you are making overall in your first draft and also in that particular day's writing session. And I find that this progress bar actually helps to hold me accountable and make sure that I'm reaching my targets, especially the session target on a day-to-day basis. I tend to enter in a word count rather than a character count or a page count. And here you can see that my word count target for the first Time School novel was 32,000 words, just over 29,000 of which have been written. And so my progress bar has turned a nice green colour to signify that I'm approaching my target. Now if I was to click on Edit and change the target word count to, let's say, 560,000 words, let's say I'm writing War and Peace Part 2, you'll see that the progress bar changes to red, as at 29,000 words I have in fact only completed approximately 5% of the manuscript. And by default, the progress bar changes colour from red through orange to green, depending on the percentage of the manuscript you have completed. However, you can actually change the colours of the progress bar yourself in Preferences. You just need to go to the Appearance tab and then go down to the Customizable Colours section, and here at the bottom you can click on the Target Process Bars option, and there you are presented with a start colour, which defaults to red, an end colour, which defaults to green, and a midway colour, which defaults to orange, or amber I suppose, as this looks reminiscent of the colours for a set of traffic lights. But let's say I want to be a little bit different. My favourite colour is blue, so I'm going to change the colours to different shades of blue. The start colour can be a light blue. The midway colour can be a medium shade of blue. And the end colour can be a dark blue, like so. And if we now go back to my War and Peace Part 2, you will see that the light shade of blue signifies that I still have a long way to go before I complete my book. But let's change that word count to a more reasonable 50,000 words, and we can now see that the colour changes to the midway colour, which shows me that I'm over halfway and I'm making solid progress. And finally, if I return to the original word count of 32,000 words, I get the dark blue colour, which shows that I'm on the home straight and nearly there. The session target bar works in exactly the same way. Of course, your word count here will largely depend on how quickly you write and how much time you have available for that particular session. Let's say I have scheduled the entire morning for writing my novel and have set a session target of 2,000 words. And then as I write a scene throughout the morning, I will be able to watch my blue progress bar grow darker and darker as I get closer and closer to writing the 2,000 words. So that is the basics of Scrivener's project targets covered. But you'll notice that there is also an options button here, which allows you to expand the functionality somewhat and actually turns project targets into quite a powerful tool. Before I show you what you can do, I'm going to increase my manuscript target to an average novel word count of, let's say, 90,000 words. That's better. So the progress bar has turned light blue. And then if you click on options, you can, for example, set a deadline for when your first draft must be completed. So here within the draft target section, I'm going to set that deadline to a month from today, which would make it the 16th of November. Obviously, this is a British format calendar. And then, if I go down to the session target section, I can click on the tick box next to automatically calculate from draft deadline. And in turn, this then allows me to choose the days that I'm going to be writing on. So let's say that I plan to spend the weekends with my family and I'll only be writing on weekdays. So I can click on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. And I shall also include the day of the deadline as a day when I can write. Then when I click OK, have a look at what happens. Scrivener has gone away and worked out that in order to achieve my target word count by the deadline I have set, and only writing Monday to Friday, I shall need to write 2,771 words per day. It also reminds me of my deadline, and of course, how many days are left until the deadline. Now, in my opinion, that is a pretty impressive feature, and invaluable during the likes of NaNoWriMo, for example. You may well have noticed the Allow Negatives box there in the options, and might be wondering exactly what that is. Basically, let's say that within a particular session you write 1,000 words of a scene, but during the session you realise that you are not at all happy with a part of the scene you have written prior to that session, and you decide to delete 2,000 words. If the Allow Negatives box is ticked, then your session word count would show as -1,000. However, if you left the box unticked, your word count will not show below 0 come what may. But of course, this would also mean that your net count would be inaccurate if you happen to delete a lot of the text. So my advice would be to keep that box ticked. You are also able to decide at what point a session is reset to 0 within the options. So you can choose to reset session count at midnight, reset session count on project close, reset session count on next day opened, or never automatically reset session counts, which is the option I choose, as I prefer to manually reset the counter before I begin writing. Okay, I think that about wraps up this video on the Project Targets feature in Scrivener. I think you'll agree that this is quite a powerful little feature for increasing your writing productivity. And if you are not already doing so, then I hope you will begin to take advantage of project targets within Scrivener in the future.